Here are 5 critical business success secrets from Ecclesiastes chapter 11. Ecclesiastes 11:1. Send your grain across the seas, and in time, profits will flow back to you. This simply means that the secret to success is to invest what you have. How I know that? When you look at 1 Kings, the scripture talks about the wealth of King Solomon. In verse 22, it says, "For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for the riches and for wisdom." So King Solomon was actually telling us precisely what he was doing. He was releasing his resources for the traders to go and invest them. These merchant ships, they go and buy, then they would resell them, and then in 3 years' time, they would bring back the profits to him. Business secret number 2, in Ecclesiastes 11:2, it tells us, "Divide your portion to 7 or to 8, for you do not know what misfortune may occur on the earth." So Solomon is telling us, don't put all our resources in one place, but rather diversify your investments in several places, because risk can befall any single one of those investments. But the chances of risk befalling every single one of them is low. Verse 3 tells us, "If the clouds are full, they pour out rain upon the earth. And whether a tree falls toward the south or toward the north, wherever the tree falls, there it lies." One common thing in business is that people give up when the going gets tough, way too easily. And most of the time, they give up just when they were about to receive a breakthrough. So Solomon is telling us whatever you are doing as effort, you're heaping up clouds. You're gathering clouds, and when the clouds are full, the rain is the rewards of your investments and your efforts in your business, career, or field, or whatever you're engaging in for profits. And I think the metaphor for whether a tree falls north or south, there it lies, is to express the unchanging nature of your reward. So you have that guarantee that your efforts are rewarded. So guys, don't give up. My favorite business secret is number 4. So in verse 4, it says, "He who watches the wind will not sow, and he who looks at the clouds will not reap." So if you have to keep looking at the market, looking at all the rigs and the tides and everything that is going on, hoping that you can find a perfect time to finally start your business, start whatever you're dreaming of or passionate about or invest in, then you're never going to do it. He goes on to explain further in verse 5. "Just as you do not know the path of the wind and how bones are formed in the womb of the pregnant woman, so you do not know the activity of God who makes all things." Which obviously tells us that there is a certain level of mystery. You can't control absolutely everything. Once you've eliminated all that you can control, you must always take the leap of faith to do things and trust that when your clouds are full, your rain will fall. And the last but not the least business secret, number 5, verse 6 tells us, "Sow your seed in the morning and do not be idle in the evening, for you do not know whether morning or evening sowing will succeed, or whether both of them alike will be good." So King Solomon is telling us, when you come back from work, don't just Netflix and chill all evening. Not that anything is wrong in watching good content that will edify you, but even after you have invested all your efforts during the day, when even come, create time to explore other passions, learn something new, try another investment, work on something that will benefit you in the long run. Scripture is not telling us that we cannot have fun or laze around after a long day, but as always, in everything, apply wisdom. Don't spend all your days idly. There is a time for everything under the sun. A time to eat, a time to work, and these days you can turn your passion into profits. God has hid his talents well in the depths of man. Discover them. Diversify your opportunities, and let not your hands be idle. So those are the 5 business secrets when it comes to unlocking the secrets to God's kingdom from the wealthiest man who ever lived, as the scripture tells us. Have you ever practiced any of these in your life so far? And which one of them have you been failing in right now? You see, it's important to know when we hear God promise to make King Solomon the wealthiest man, we think he was just automatically made rich. He woke up the next morning lazing around and just said, I would be the wealthiest man who ever lived. And suddenly there were trunks of gold beneath his bed. No, he had to work to reap all that God promised him. So the pronouncement was there, and that pronouncement is still here for every single one of God's children. We have been empowered to make wealth, but it's the principles, and these are the principles King Solomon applied. He invested, he had merchants, he had ships, he had trade, he had to work. He had all these things going on in order for him to actually reap the reality of the promise that God had made to him. So what promises has God made to you as far as your future, your business, your ambitions, your desires, and most importantly, His purpose for your life? Are they in alignment with what you are practicing or doing right now? What have you done to work towards them?